What if the snack you've trusted for years, something as small as a handful of nuts, was quietly harming your heart, brain, and bones after 60? Sounds hard to believe, but it happens more often than you'd think. And one patient's story completely changed the way I look at so-called healthy nuts. Her name was Lorraine. She was 72, widowed, mentally sharp, socially active, but constantly tired. She came into my clinic complaining of brain fog, joint stiffness, and a strange heaviness in her legs. Her lab results were clean. No disease, no major diagnosis, just a slow, steady decline in mood, energy, and mobility. It didn't make sense until I asked her one simple question. What do you snack on every day? She smiled and said proudly, only healthy nuts, almonds, cashews, peanuts, macadamias. No junk food. That's when I paused. Because here's what most people don't realize. After 60, your body doesn't respond to foods the same way it used to. Some foods that were once healthy can start to quietly work against you. And unfortunately, many of the most popular nuts are now among the worst choices for seniors. A 12-year study from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology revealed something alarming. Certain nuts, especially when consumed daily, can raise the risk of cardiovascular collapse in older adults by up to 48%. This isn't internet gossip. This is peer-reviewed, published science. So I asked Lorraine to make one simple change. Just one. I told her to remove 2 types of nuts from her mix and replace them with one different nut every morning. Everything else in her diet stayed the same. The results? They shocked even me. But I'll come back to her in just a moment. Today, I want to share with you the 4 best nuts for aging well, nuts that nourish your brain, bones, and circulation. I'll also warn you about 4 healthy nuts that could actually be harming your memory, raising your blood pressure, or irritating your gut. And yes, there's one nut in particular that's been linked to liver stress, kidney strain, and even cognitive decline in seniors. You deserve to know what it is. This video isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you. Because after 60, every bite matters. You're not chasing fads, you just want to feel better, move better, and stay independent. So let's walk through this one step at a time. No drama, just facts. And yes, we'll revisit Lorraine's story. Because the changes she experienced from one tiny swap were far more powerful than either of us expected. Let's start with one of the most misunderstood nuts out there, the Brazil nut. Despite its small size, it's packed with a mineral your body needs now more than ever: selenium. This trace nutrient plays a critical role in supporting your thyroid, calming your nervous system, and slowing cellular aging. Just one Brazil nut per day delivers 137% of your daily selenium needs. This concentrated nutrition in its purest form. When Lorraine and I reviewed her snacking habits, I suggested she stop eating cashews and macadamias and instead add just one Brazil nut each morning. She was puzzled. Only one? She asked. Yes, because with this nut, more isn't better. Just one is enough to trigger powerful changes in energy, mood, and metabolism. Lorraine's symptoms lined up perfectly with a sluggish thyroid, low energy, slow weight loss, mild depression. But she didn't need a new medication. She needed selenium. Selenium helps activate thyroid hormones, the same hormones that regulate temperature, metabolism, and mood. It also protects your nerves by preserving myelin, the fatty sheath around your nerves that helps signals move quickly from your brain to your body. Without healthy myelin, memory declines, balance wobbles, and reflexes slow. Most people don't know this, but the selenium in Brazil nuts is absorbed 3 times better than what you get from supplements. It's real food your body recognizes and uses efficiently. Within 2 weeks of this one small change, Lorraine told me, I don't need 2 cups of coffee to wake up anymore. My mornings feel lighter. By her 2-month follow-up, she had lost 4 pounds, her sleep had improved, and her thyroid profile on lab tests had rebalanced. All without a single medication change. But that's not all. Brazil nuts also support gut health, reduce sugar cravings, and help protect telomeres, the protective ends of your DNA strands that shorten as you age. Keeping them intact slows cellular aging and supports overall longevity. One warning: do not overdo it. More than 2 Brazil nuts per day can lead to selenium overload, which may cause nausea, fatigue, or nerve sensitivity. One a day is plenty. Pro tip: buy them in the shell. The shell protects their delicate oils from going rancid, and storing them in the fridge helps keep them fresh longer. Let's keep going, because the next nut on our list might be hiding in your pantry, and it's one you need to be careful with. Never buy large pre-shelled bags of Brazil nuts. Their nutrients start degrading within weeks. For real impact, stick to whole, in-shell nuts stored in the fridge. If you're looking for one small habit with a big payoff, this is the one to start with. Now let's move on to the next powerful nut. One that looks surprisingly like the organ it protects, your brain. Ever notice how a walnut resembles the human brain? That's not just a coincidence. Walnuts have been shown to be one of the most effective foods for supporting cognitive function, especially in seniors over 60. They're rich in ALA omega-3 fatty acids, a plant-based fat your neurons need to rebuild, repair, and communicate clearly. As we age, the brain naturally shrinks, but nutrition can slow that process and in some cases restore function. A study in the Journal of Nutrition found that seniors who consumed just 1.5 ounces of walnuts per day for 8 weeks improved their information processing speed by 22%. That's not a minor change. It's the kind of upgrade you can feel in how you think, speak, and remember. But walnuts don't just feed the brain, they also protect it. They're packed with polyphenol, antioxidants that can cross the blood-brain barrier and help reduce inflammation linked to Alzheimer's and other cognitive conditions. Think of every handful as a shield for your memory. And if you're struggling with sleep, walnuts can help there too. They naturally contain melatonin, the sleep-regulating hormone your body produces less of as you age. I often recommend 5 to 7 walnut halves in the evening. For many patients, this simple habit helped them fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, without needing a single pill. Sometimes, I tell my patients, you don't need a sleeping aid. You just need a handful of walnuts and an earlier screen shut off. And the benefits don't stop at brain and sleep support. Walnuts are also excellent for heart health. They contain arginine, an amino acid that relaxes blood vessels and improves circulation. That means lower blood pressure, less strain on your heart, and better oxygen delivery to your brain and muscles. Here's a tip: always store walnuts in the fridge. Their healthy oils can go rancid quickly at room temperature, leading to bitterness and nutrient loss. And here's something interesting: a little bitterness isn't bad. It often means more antioxidants. Let your taste buds adjust, but let science lead the way. So if your goal is to stay sharp, sleep better, and improve circulation, a handful of walnuts a day is one of the easiest and smartest habits you can build. Next up, 2 small nuts that offer big-time support for your bones, arteries, and energy, especially after 60. Let's start with almonds. Just a quarter cup of almonds, around 15 to 20 pieces, delivers nearly 100 milligrams of calcium, which is your bone's first line of defense against fractures. But almonds go even further. They're also rich in magnesium, a nutrient that acts like a traffic officer for calcium, directing it into your bones and keeping it out of your arteries, where it can cause trouble. That same magnesium also helps relax blood vessels and lower blood pressure. A win for both your bones and your heart. I once worked with a retired carpenter who stopped climbing stairs because of leg cramps and poor balance. We didn't start with prescriptions, we started with almonds. Just 3 months later, he was walking daily again, lighter on his feet, more confident, and pain-free. Here's the best way to enjoy them: raw or dry roasted, with no added salt. Salted varieties can cancel out many of the heart-healthy benefits. And don't skip the skin. That's where the flavonoids live. These powerful plant compounds, when combined with the vitamin E naturally found in almonds, form a potent antioxidant duo that helps protect brain cells from damage. Now let's talk about pistachios, the colorful green and purple gems that are as delicious as they are powerful. Pistachios are low in sodium, high in potassium, and an incredible tool for controlling blood pressure. Just 1 serving contains around 285 milligrams of potassium, which helps your kidneys flush out excess sodium and gently lower systolic pressure. They're also one of the best nuts for eye health. Thanks to nutrients like lutein and zeaxanthin, pistachios help protect against macular degeneration, a leading cause of vision decline after 60. And here's a hidden benefit you might not expect. Shelling pistachios slows you down. That small pause between each bite helps promote mindful eating, which prevents overeating and supports digestion. They're also softer to chew than most nuts, making them a great choice for anyone with sensitive teeth, dentures, or jaw discomfort. And for those watching their blood sugar, pistachios offer about 3 grams of fiber per ounce, which helps stabilize energy, reduce post-meal glucose spikes, and support overall metabolic health. So if you're aiming to support your bones, heart, eyes, and blood pressure, almonds and pistachios deserve a permanent place in your diet. But before you reach for your next handful, there's one more nut we need to talk about. It's often marketed as healthy, but for seniors it may be doing more harm than good. And you need to hear this because the risks go beyond just bloating or weight gain. We'll cover that next. So what do I tell my patients? Start small. 15 almonds in the morning, 40 pistachios in the afternoon. This isn't a diet. It's your daily defense system, a natural, sustainable way to nourish your bones, balance your blood pressure, and fuel your strength without overhauling your life. Now, let's talk about a nut that may look harmless or even elegant, but could quietly sabotage your health after 60. Macadamia nuts. Smooth, buttery, marketed as premium and heart-healthy. But for older adults, macadamias can do more harm than good. Here's why. Just 1 ounce of macadamias packs in 200 calories and over 22 grams of fat, most of it saturated. That kind of fat load might be manageable for a young athlete, but for seniors with a slower metabolism, it's a fast track to unwanted weight gain and elevated cholesterol. Even worse, those fats place stress on your gallbladder. And many older adults already have silent gallstones without even knowing it. I once had a patient, Mr. Terrence, who came in complaining of stomach pain after his afternoon snack. Turns out, his handful of macadamias was triggering gallbladder attacks. And that's only part of the problem. Macadamias are dense and firm, making them tough to chew for anyone with crowns, implants, or aging enamel. Add to that the fact that many macadamia nuts are roasted in oil and salted, and you've got a recipe for inflammation, water retention, and elevated blood pressure. Let's not forget about cost and shelf life. These nuts are pricey, and their oils oxidize quickly when not stored properly. That buttery taste can turn bitter fast, and those rancid fats can quietly damage cells and raise cardiovascular stress. And here's something no one talks about. They're dangerously easy to overeat. Because they're soft and rich, most people don't stop at 5 or 6. They eat double that without even realizing it. For someone over 60, that's a fast track to belly fat, LDL cholesterol spikes, and liver sluggishness. So what's the takeaway? If you really love macadamias, enjoy 1 or 2 occasionally on special occasions. But they don't belong in your daily snack routine. Especially if you're managing your weight, cholesterol, or gallbladder health, there are safer, smarter options you can choose every day. Now let's turn to 2 more nuts, both small, both marketed as natural. But for seniors, both can quietly do harm. First, pine nuts. These little seeds often show up in pesto, trail mix, or fancy salads. But pine nuts are linked to a strange and frustrating condition called pine mouth, a lingering metallic taste that can last days or even weeks. For seniors, this can lead to loss of appetite, weight loss, and nutrient deficiencies, all dangerous outcomes if you're already undernourished or losing muscle. Even more concerning, pine nuts interfere with over 60% of common medications taken by older adults. Statins, antidepressants, blood pressure meds, you name it. Why? They affect liver enzymes that help break down these drugs, making your body process them improperly. And like many nuts, pine nuts spoil quickly. Their delicate fats oxidize, generating compounds that increase inflammation, especially in joints and arteries. I had one patient with arthritis who swore by her daily trail mix. But when we removed pine nuts from her diet, her joint pain improved significantly within 3 weeks. Coincidence? I don't think so. Now let's talk about a favorite in many households, peanuts. Technically, peanuts aren't even nuts. They're legumes, and they grow underground in moist soil, which makes them a breeding ground for mold toxins like aflatoxins. These toxins are linked to liver damage and cancer. Even if you don't have an allergy, peanuts can trigger systemic inflammation, leading to more joint pain, more brain fog, and added stress on your heart. They're also extremely high in omega-6 fats, which throws off your omega balance. Most seniors already get too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3. That imbalance has been linked to heart disease, cognitive decline, and inflammatory conditions that slowly chip away at your quality of life. For seniors on blood thinners, peanuts are even riskier. They contain vitamin K, which can interfere with medications like warfarin, raising your risk of clotting or internal bleeding. And what about peanut butter? Even the natural brands can be high in sodium, and most store-bought options are filled with hydrogenated oils, added sugar, and excess salt. They're easy to overeat and nearly impossible to portion properly. So while peanuts might seem like a convenient protein-packed snack, for adults over 60, the risks outweigh the rewards. Coming up, we'll wrap this all up by revisiting the nuts that support your health and reviewing those that may be secretly working against you, so you can make smarter, safer choices every day. And remember, when it comes to your health after 60, every handful counts. So here's my advice. If you're over 60, limit pine nuts and peanuts. Don't fear all nuts, but be intentional. Choose the ones that support your heart, brain, digestion, and medications, not those that quietly work against your progress. Now, let's talk about the worst offender of them all. A nut so common, so friendly-looking, it tops the never-eat list for seniors. Cashews. Cashews might be the most surprising nut I recommend avoiding after 60. They look soft, taste sweet, and are often found on healthy snack lists. But here's the truth few people know. Cashews are a blood sugar trap. Unlike most nuts, they're relatively high in carbs, around 9 grams per ounce, and low in fiber. That's a dangerous combination, especially for anyone with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. Just one handful can cause a sharp blood sugar spike followed by an energy crash, brain fog, and mood dips. I remember one patient, Mrs. O'Hara, who ate cashews every day, thinking they were better than cookies. She couldn't understand why her energy tanked after lunch and why her weight was slowly creeping up. When we removed the cashews from her routine, her blood sugar stabilized and her afternoon energy returned in just a few weeks. But the risks don't stop there. Cashews are also high in oxalates, compounds that bind to calcium and block its absorption, that can quietly weaken bones over time and increase the risk of kidney stones, especially in seniors with reduced kidney function. And here's something even fewer people know. Cashews are naturally toxic until they're heavily processed. They contain urushiol, the same chemical found in poison ivy. That's why they must be steamed or roasted before being sold. Most store-bought cashews are also roasted in oil and heavily salted, adding unnecessary fat and sodium to your diet, two things most seniors should avoid. Their soft texture also makes them dangerously easy to overeat, especially in trail mixes and nut butters. And cashews contain enzyme inhibitors that interfere with protein digestion, potentially leading to muscle weakness and fatigue over time. The verdict? Cashews are not a daily nut for older adults. They're fine as an occasional treat in small portions, but don't be fooled into thinking they're a health food. If you're looking for something that supports blood sugar, bone strength, and healthy digestion, stick with almonds or walnuts. They nourish. Cashews distract. So let's recap. Best nuts for seniors. Brazil nuts for thyroid, nerve function, and cellular aging. Walnuts for memory, sleep, and circulation. Almonds for bone health, cholesterol, and digestion. Pistachios for blood pressure, vision, and blood sugar stability. Nuts to limit or avoid. Macadamias, high in saturated fat, tough on teeth and gallbladder. Pine nuts interfere with medications, spoil quickly. Peanuts promote inflammation, disrupt medication, stress the liver. Cashews spike blood sugar, reduce calcium, increase kidney burden. These might seem like small choices, but over time, they shape your energy, your clarity, your independence. I've seen patients regain strength, balance, and confidence. Not from fad diets, but from small, smart changes to something as simple as their daily handful of nuts. Because here's the truth. Your body after 60 is more sensitive, more responsive, and more deserving of foods that heal, not harm. So let me ask you, which nut will you add this week? Which one will you finally let go? Type your answer in the comments. I read every single one. Your story might be the one that inspires someone else to make their first small change. If this video helped you look at nuts and your health in a new light, give it a like. Share it with someone you care about. And don't forget to subscribe to Senior Boost, where we decode aging with wisdom, not fear, and bring you weekly tips to stay strong, sharp, and independent for life. I'm Dr. Mark Adler, and from all of us at Senior Boost, stay strong, stay curious, and remember, it's never too late to feel your best.